We say good morning, Colm.
Hiya, Ger.
What's your nervousness level today?
For the show?
No.
Not at all. It's a great show. There's so much happening, right? It's unusual now that we be festooned with live sport at 7:30 a.m. right? And it was a beautiful introduction there, Ger. I think you really encapsulated. But just to go one step further, a beautiful first shot off the first tee from Boohig Harrington, who was delighted with life. I don't know, did you see his reaction to Scotty Scheffler's comments when he was asked about them? He just shrugged his shoulders and said, I love golf. I don't know what his message was. And he was beaming with smiles before he took the shot, and then afterwards, because it was right down the middle. And at 6:50 a.m. on this Thursday morning, the 17th of July 2025, Boohig Harrington led the Open, getting a birdie on the first. He's back now to level par. Yeah, after three. And Tom McGibbon, who he's playing with, is +2 after three.
Oh, God, come on, Tom.
But what a start for Boohig Harrington. Will just be off air by the time Shane Lowry tees off at 9 minutes past 10, alongside Colin Morikawa and the man of the hour, Scotty Scheffler. And then Rory is this afternoon. Darren Clark and Lee Westwood will be teeing off during the show, among others.
Two Danes, Huggard and Olesen, are in the lead on 1 under. So no, you've managed to avoid my question properly.
I really heard it. And then Shels.
What's the level of fear?
What a result for Shels. 750 grand, baby, straight away in the pocket. Last night they drew 1 all on the night, went through 2 on aggregate.
That's that British. You're quoting that British MMA fighter. Tell me, come on. How much fear do you have? It's just pure excitement.
About what? About the
All-Ireland hurling final.
Team,
The imminent All-Ireland hurling final.
I think Lions will be fine.
This weekend.
Should we go through the Lions team?
Look at that.
Dara Smith-Naughton has it.
Why don't you just embrace it? This is the best week of your life.
Go for the Lions team.
This is the best week of your life.
What do people want more right now? Do they want to talk about Cork, or do they want to hear
we always want to talk about Cork.
Test, first team?
Okay, Darren, give us
Dara Smith-Naughton's
he's refusing to play along.
Go for that.
Good morning, lads. How's it going?
Hi.
Lions team is out.
Is it?
Our own Will O'Callaghan is reporting that it's a record 8 Irish starters in a Lions test team.
I mean, obviously it's an Irish record, is it? But there's been more from One Nation before. There were 8.
I'm sure there's more Welsh.
There were 8 Welsh under Gallows. Yeah, I just counted back the other day. Anyway.
Starting from fullback.
Oh.
Hugo Keenan, Tommy Freeman, Hugh Jones, Sion Tuipulotu, James Lowe, Finn Russell, Jameson Gibson Park, Ellis Genge. This is going out to loose head prop. Ellis Genge, Dan Sheehan, Tyke Furlong, Mara Toja, Joe McCarthy, Tyke Byrne at 6, Tom Curry at 7, and Jack Conan at 8.
Mm-hmm. The bench now I'm interested in.
The bench might be more interesting than the actual.
Yeah. What have they gone? 5-3?
5-3 split.
Mm-hmm.
Ronan Kelleher, Andrew Porter, Will Stewart, Ollie Chesham, Ben Earl, Alex Mitchell, Marcus Smith. So no Owen Farrell, and Bundy Aki.
Wow. It's the first time since I think the 1896 tour there's no Welsh player involved at all. Yeah. Tough year for Wales. Overall, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts.
It's fine.
There's not too many surprises in the starting lineup. Tom Curry at 7 is...
It's fine. I wouldn't have Marcus Smith anywhere near the best 23 players.
Well, we suggested the notion on Monday and scoffed at the idea of Marcus Smith being in a test squad.
However, James Tracy did explain that if you have Bundy as your 23, you need Marcus Smith because Bundy only covers one position really, whereas Marcus Smith can play fullback, and then all of a sudden you can jiggle everybody else around. So I mean, that was the perfect illustration of it. I still think that they're going to be fine here because the big news from Australia is that Will Skelton is out.
Yeah, it's a massive loss, really, isn't it? And their 2-time Player of the Year, Valentini, is gone as well. So it's a fairly weakened.
So Valentini's a big ball carrying back row, and they have nobody else to carry the ball except maybe Will Skelton. I mean, I know he doesn't do that much of it anyway, but maybe when you really need someone to go in and wreck things, you turn to him. He's gone, and the replacement number 7 is also gone because he got injured in the game against Fiji where they were resting Valentini. So come on.
Obviously, the starting fly half Lolosio is also gone. So
if this isn't the 20-point victory, I see the Irish media are obsessed with Joe Schmidt pulling rabbits from the hat. Is he going to manufacture players? Is there a hologram of something that he can beam down that somehow
Well, he's not losing hope because he says that
Skitter's
Ballatini and Skelton will be back for the second test.
Yeah, he's not losing hope
Definitely.
for the test
So it
series.
won't
What
be
do you
over.
say?
They keep him in the series this weekend.
And isn't that what you would say if
It's the first test.
even if the lads weren't?
You know, they're lucky that this is not an aggregate series. That Lions will be out the gap after the weekend, points wise.
the
You
Lions
can win.
do-
You can win whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
The Lions do tend to come out in that first test quite tame enough, really, compared to the second and third test. So maybe Australia do.
When's the last time they were this fancied heading into the first test? The Lions. That's the thing, isn't it? You know, I mean, this would be seen. Can we go back to the B word from last week? You know, that's how heavily favoured they are here.
I'd say this might be. They're probably more favoured than they ever have been here. I would say, probably.
James
Australia are as
Tracy,
weak as they ever have been. Like so.
James Tracy has been in touch proactively. Say he was nearly bang on. He said it's a great team.
Yeah.
He likes it a lot. He likes Earl and Chesham on the bench. I suppose that's the Ron O'Gara logic that it is these options. And I would agree with you. I think the bench is almost, if not more interesting, as interesting. as
No,
starting
Henry
15.
Pollock is very disappointing.
It is, yeah, but I kind of had a feeling that would happen, and I have a feeling that we will see him in one of the tests.
I know, but like, come on, let's just see it. Like, this is.
It's only the first.
I know, but it would be way more crack having Henry Pollock on the bench. No, Josh van der Fleer. That's gonna be tricky. I'm sure that was a difficult conversation. It's like, I was literally the best player in the world, and now I can't get in your shitty little made up team.
It is mad being World Player of the Year and not in the 23 in
I suspect
close
he took
proximity.
it better than that.
Well, I was wondering that last year. It was like when Andy Farrell goes back to the day job, he has to explain these things, I guess, or do you just accept them? But that, I suppose, is a surprise enough.
Marcus Smith is somewhat actually unsurprising, really, because if anyone was going to have a 22 shirt on, it would have been him.
Pure versatility.
Just that.
Whoa!
There's that.
He's no good as a fullback.
There's that, but then there's also the fact that he's literally almost played every game as that position up until now. Like, he's held a 22 shirt for almost every game.
Right.
So it was clearly a plan from the start that ideally he would.
What
he would
position
play
is
that.
Marcus Smith now?
Oh, he's a 10.
Sub.
No, well, like he's a 10,
He's a 10.
but he won't get next door near to playing 10.
He's not going to start at 10 now.
Yeah, but even coming on,
if there's
what
an
do you
injury?
mean? Like, well, like, of course.
Finn Russell goes down after 2 minutes. Who's playing 10?
He's playing 10. Like, the plan is to keep Finn Russell on for 80 minutes, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it doesn't work out that way most of the time, so.
If they smash Finn Russell in the first 2 minutes, they have a chance of doing something in this game. Oh, Porrick Harrington sliding a power putt past, and he's going to 1 over. So what started so well, he's back to 1 over through.
you'll always have had that
4.
6:50 a.m. moment
Yeah.
where he was leading the Open.
Sorry, this whole Marcus Smith, he's very versatile. He's no good as a fullback. Like, and it's not. I think he's a very good rugby player, right? I actually think.
You don't.
I do. I think he's going to be a very good
it, like-
sub 10 for England for the next few years.
You don't want him to do well.
But why not?
I got a feeling that you're not
That's
having.
completely wrong.
I have a feeling
That
you're
is
having.
absolutely completely wrong. I think
that feeling from
that he's obviously been grandfathered in. There's been pressure from the media that he's our darling and he's our version of Finn Russell, but he's nowhere near as good as Finn Russell. So he did very well coming off the bench against Ireland that time when he kicked the winner. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he as a 10, right?
Yeah.
Or was he? Did he come on as a?
He was a 10, yeah. He
Yeah.
came on as a 10.
I just don't think he's any good as a fullback. So the whole notion that he's versatile is actually erroneous piffle, to quote the man.
But he can play more than one position.
Well, I don't think they're bringing
But
him
he
on
can't
to.
play. He can't play the fullback position well. He's a weakness there. You bring him on at fullback and it's weak.
So who else would you have?
But
played?
yeah,
Would you have picked
who-
Owen Farrell instead of Marcus Smith?
I would definitely have picked. I would have picked Finn Smith ahead of him, and I would have picked Owen Farrell ahead of him. But like,
Well, see,
where's our back three cover? Can Tommy Freeman play fullback at the pinch? I don't
if
know.
that's the case, then what if Keenan goes down after 5 minutes?
I don't know.
This is I
Sure,
think that's
like,
part of the thinking is that Keenan's been ill for like the last 2
Yeah.
weeks, and he has been great. So if he needs to come off, then
you need one more of those winger hybrid centre people, and maybe they couldn't have put Osborne in the 23 from nowhere, but like they had to think that one through. Anyway,
yeah, most of those fullback options are out. Like even a Hansen could play fullback, but he's also out.
yeah,
So I think
needs must is what you're saying.
I think their hand has been forced a little bit.
Although they have been practicing for this. So, yeah, all right. It's give us your thoughts. The Lions team is out. The golf is up and running. And Shelburne are through to the next round of the Champions League qualifiers. Nathan Murphy was at the game last night. Oh, he's not ready yet. Will we hear him talking to Joey O'Brien first, though? Yeah, so he's been talking with the Shelburne manager, the full-time manager now, no longer an interim manager, Joey O'Brien. Speaking with Nathan after a 1-1 draw last night, goes through 2-1 on aggregate.
Joey, huge result for Shelburne. How satisfied are you with that?
Yeah, no, great. As you said, a great night for the football club, great night for the players, the fans out there, fantastic. So, yeah, delighted to be in the next round.
I think that first 45 minutes was maybe the most entertaining I've seen all year. I suspect you didn't feel the same way.
Nah, listen, there was loads in it, wasn't there? Like, I suppose, we had the substitutions. Obviously, I think they had a chance. We obviously scored, took the lead, then they came back to us with the penalty, obviously, and then we thought we were going back into the lead with the corner. Davy McAllister worked a lovely corner there that the lads executed, and we thought we were coming in with the lead. Obviously, got turned over by VAR. So, yeah, that first half football probably had everything. You know, we were a little bit probably despondent at half time with that. Just I suppose the emotion being so high, thinking you got to get back in front and then come back down to reality. I just said to the lads at half time, listen, we need to get back on the football and need to just get dominating possession again. Thinking European football, possession's everything, you know, and thought we'd done that second half.
Such a short turnaround from Damien's departure to these seismic games for the club. Now that you know you've got 3 more ties, at least the sort of next couple of months are almost planned out that you're going to be playing European football week in, week out. Does it just almost settle things down and you can focus the minds a little bit easier?
Listen, it's mad because you're moving on to a game on FAI Cup game now on Saturday, you know, and that's what we look to. And then obviously next week then you look to Cardiff, and that's how you move on in football. As I said at the time, and when the manager stepped away, it was like you don't really have much time to think because it's on to the next game. I said to the lads there, listen, the manager has a huge say in there tonight, you know, like that was a team that he built, and players that came to this football club, he brought them all in, you know. So I said to the lads, listen, he got us probably here, he's gone now. Make sure it's over to you and make sure you get it over the line and have a good European football rounds to look forward to. And I just said after the game, though, this can't be it. Like, this can't be the end of our European run, really. The buzz of getting through one game. It's obviously looking to get group stages now, you know.
Well, one win in any of those games guarantees you group stage football. Like, were you talking about that already in the dressing room? Do you feel that's a realistic goal now? I
just touched on it. Obviously, obviously a great night here, but we just don't want this to be the end of it, really, you know. And as you said, it opens up. I suppose that's what this game and this tie you've done for us. It opens up so many doors, like, really. And as you said, you have a possibility of really tough games. Obviously, they're going to be, but you have 3 cracks at it, really, you know. And you only need to get one over the line.
How much are you enjoying this? How much have you enjoyed the last couple of weeks being the main man, being the manager, being on the sideline on a night like this, one of the biggest in probably the club's history?
Yeah, no, great. Listen, it's been brilliant, but that's about the players for me, you know. I wanted them to really show their best stuff, and I thought at times in the toy we did with that. Great for the fans. Listen, it's travelled in great numbers there. It was a brilliant atmosphere, brilliant crowd, people in the background, fans that haven't been able to come. Listen, as I said, the lads there created a lot of happiness for people there tonight.
Yeah, Todd could be hopping next Wednesday night.
Yeah, no, it'd be great. Listen, again, European football and Talk is brilliant, you know, and we're on a good run there ourselves, like in the, suppose, even in the recent times, the 3 games that we played last year, obviously, and this year at home, we've been really good. So listen, as you said, take care of Saturday and then look to Cardiff.
Well done tonight.
Cheers. Thank you.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Morning, lads.
So before we get on to Carabag and everything that actually means, most people couldn't watch the game last night. It was difficult enough to find. It wasn't broadcast, obviously, on terrestrial television here. So what was it like? It sounded like it was pretty amazing. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, the first half was probably as entertaining a 45 minutes as I've seen all year. From the first seconds when Linfield came flying out of the blocks, they win a free kick straight away, 20 seconds in, over on the right-hand side, floated to the back post. Suddenly there's a bit of confusion in the Shels defence. Goes back over Conor Curran's head, and Matthew Fitzpatrick, the Linfield strikers, pretty much under the crossbar, and he somehow heads it over. And from there, the pace was just utterly relentless. It was a proper cup tie. There was tackles flying in. Ali Cook got a booking for, a bad enough tackle. And Shels couldn't really get any great control on the ball. It just seemed to be Linfield, give it away. Shelburne, give it away. You go into counter-attack. You try and create an opportunity. And, Shelburne very nearly shot themselves in the foot because Conor Kearns, their goalkeeper, 10, 12 minutes in, is the ball on the edge of his area, passes the ball straight to Fitzpatrick, who just chips it straight back over Kearns' head, and it goes about an inch to the left-hand side and wide. Shels lose their captain, Mark Coyle, to injury. Then Conor Kearns himself goes off injured. So, two of their key players gone pretty much inside 30, 35 minutes. But they always look dangerous in their half. Linfield were committing so many men forward, even though there was only, I think, 6,000 Linfield supporters there and about 1,300 Shels fans. The noise felt like there was 3 or 4 times that. And the Linfield supporters, understandably, a goal down, were getting at their players to get forward. But that was given space and opportunity for Shels. And I thought Meepo played really well up front on his own. When they were under a bit of pressure and they just go long, he was able to hold it up. He was able to bring Coote and Wood into it. And then Shels get their goal. And, Harry Wood and Ali Coote both did really well. They were very calm, very composed inside the area. Wood's shot initially is cleared off the line by Chris Shields, who was exceptional last night. Comes to Ali Coote, instead of just smashing it back, takes a touch, takes it round the defender and buries it into the back of the net. And you sort of think then at 2-0, that'll just settle Shels completely. And it didn't. It just continued in this wild ride. And there was, because of the injury, 6 minutes of injury time. And Linfield get themselves an equaliser from the penalty spot. No real complaints. Tariq Wilson handles the ball. Chris Shields scores it. It's game on for like 2 minutes. And then Shels scored this real quality goal from a corner kick, a set piece, straight off the training ground. As Joey O'Brien said, Dave McAllister had been working on it, where they go short to Evan Caffrey, and eventually it comes back to Ger McEnroy. He scores, and you think, game over. And after a long wait, Andy Madley, the referee, gets the nod. Take a look at this VAR, and it seems Paddy Barrett had a hold on the jersey of the player that would have been marking Ger McEnroy. So we go in at 1-1. You think maybe Joey O'Brien will be able to settle it. I think 15, 16 seconds into the second half, Lorcan Healy, the substitute keeper, does exactly what Conor Kearns did in the first half. He's standing on the edge of the area. He gives the ball to Morrison, the Linfield attacker, and he's clear through in goal. But somehow Healy manages to get back and make a save. And yeah, it didn't really settle at all until Linfield had the player sent off, Ben Hall, their centre back. And again, this was just a nothing error in the middle of midfield. Linfield under no pressure, giving it away to Meepo. He bears down a goal. He's still 30, 40 yards away, but Healy clips him, brings him down, straight red card. And from there on, I think Linfield had 1 shot on goal after that. Shels finally managed to settle it. And Linfield, remember, still in pre-season, they just ran out of legs completely. So the first 45 minutes, an hour, was edgier seat stuff. There was no great sense that Shels had total control of this at any stage until that last 30 minutes when Linfield's legs were gone.
An incredible reward as well, Nathan. So €750,000 for winning this tie, and they're guaranteed 3 more ties in Europe, with Qarabag up next.
Yeah, it is. There's the financial reward and there's the sporting reward. So they were guaranteed €1 million anyways, and now, as you say, you get another 700,000 in prize money. Now, there is a lot of expense that comes with this, with bonuses to players, to management, that they now have to go to Azerbaijan, and all of the expense that comes with that. And part of the prize money is to cover all of those extra costs. So it's not just 700 grand that's going to go into signing new players or to refurbishing Talca Park or anything like that. But better than that, it opens the opportunity for them to go much, much deeper into one of the European competitions. So the way it'll work for them now is they play Qarabag in the second qualifying round of the Champions League. Qarabag are a name we know well at this stage, very much an established European team. They've just dominated the Azerbaijan League for the last decade, 15 years. They've been in Champions League group stage. They've been in Europa League last season. So they know about these days. You might remember they played Dundalk back in 2019 when the first leg was in Dundalk, and Dundalk, Pat Hoopen got a late equaliser, ends up finishing 1-1, but Qarabag had much too much for them in the second leg, and Qarabag will be overwhelming favourites for that. But it's another big European night at Talca Park next Wednesday night. Then, obviously, if they win that, then you really start to dream. Then if they lose that, they go to the Europa League qualifiers. If they lose that, they go to the final round of the Conference League qualifiers, into the Conference League playoffs. So, as I said to Joey O'Brien, 1 win in any of those games, and you're automatically through to the Conference League and European football through the winter. And what happened last year was, Shamrock Rovers won the qualifying round of the Europa League, which meant that they were guaranteed straight through no matter what happened in their final Europa League qualifier. And when you look at the potential teams, there's a lot of very good teams in that Europa League side, including a lot of the better, stronger teams across Europe, I think that Conference League playoff will be the one they're looking at, and we probably obsess a bit too much of the money side of it, particularly at this stage, because it goes to a whole other level if they qualify for a group stage. But I think it's just the fun of what's going to happen now over the next 6 to 8 weeks of 3 big away trips in Europe.
I don't know if you know, do they get the money straight away?
No, I think it comes in a couple of different spells over the course of the year. I don't think it's this morning 700 grand suddenly arrives in your bank account. I think it's the way we often see it is obviously at the end of a Champions League season, and the winners get 100 million quid. I don't think it comes necessarily as you step through, but perhaps some of it does, so that again, your expenses for your private jet to Azerbaijan are covered.
You say private jet, it's like a charter. It won't be it won't be walnut panels and.
Is it charter not a private jet?
I mean, I don't know. I think private jet suggests a Lear.
Their private jet's different to Rory McIlroy's private jet, is what you're suggesting.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be bigger and a bit older and a bit rustier.
This is a conversation that won't be settled this morning, but it is mad that the game is unavailable for people to watch here, Nathan, isn't it? Like the lack of joined up thinking, because the first leg was shown, and then you're left in the lurch for the second leg. And I'm not sure what can be done about that, other than a coming together of minds that this is for the greater good to actually show this game again.
Yeah, well, I'm sure RTE, who showed the first leg, will make the point that they were showing the quarterfinal of the Women's European Championship, and they're contracted to show all of those games. Could they have shown Shelburne on the RTE News channel? Perhaps they could, particularly after showing the first leg, and you sort of get people interested, and the tie is still very much in the balance.
It would have been better almost if they didn't show the first leg, because it's like, why are we not seeing the second leg?
Well, where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, exactly. And there's other broadcasters out there. They obviously didn't feel it was worthwhile showing this game either for some reason. But yeah, really disappointing. And I from what I can gather, I don't think the game next Wednesday night is likely to be shown either, because again, there's games in the Women's European Championship. So it's disappointing, very disappointing for football fans, that a game of really entertaining game as it was in the end. I think if you started watching that game last night, you wouldn't have been turning it off. But listen, RTE, Declan McBennett did an extensive interview last week, explaining their side of the story, and I guess the financial pressures that they're under at the moment, and the decisions
but it was
they're going to have to make.
It was restating things we'd heard before, as opposed to explaining. It was like, well, we told everybody in advance we weren't going to do the game. It's like, that doesn't necessarily mean that's like explaining that you're not going to do something is actually, these are the rationales and reasons behind it, as opposed to we prioritise something else. They prioritise other things over domestic football, and the notion that they don't is it doesn't stand up to scrutiny. So that's what's going on here. RTE have prioritised other things than domestic football. They've decided that other things are higher in the pecking order. And I think Virgin, there are other broadcasters out there, but like Virgin need to make money, and they haven't been making money as an organisation over many years. So like when they're putting time and effort and energy into broadcasting the League of Ireland, it is actually proper public service broadcasting that needs to be, I think, called out and rewarded. And I think it will be rewarded over a long period of time. But when the champions of Ireland are in European football, I think it's safe to assume that the national broadcaster should be covering them.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And I think you'd wonder, should these fixtures be on that list of sporting events that simply have to be shown across the season? Now, when we're talking about RTE making other decisions, I don't think we should include their coverage of the European Championships in that. That's part of other contracts, and when you sign up to that. But they do have other options with other channels to show this game and to give people the opportunity to watch it. And it is a Champions League qualifier.
They have URC games on at the same time as league matches, and they have multiple channels. So like as I say, where there's a will, there's a way. If the will isn't there, it's like, we told you in advance we weren't going to do it. All right, fair enough. Whatever you want.
It's the same story this evening with Pats, I think. So 5 o'clock in the Europa Conference League, they play Hegelman of Lithuania, also 1-0 up from the first leg. So I think it's going to be the same story again. You won't be able to see that.
I think that's on it's on a stream. It's available on a stream. If you go onto the Pats website, they have the link to the stream, so you can watch it there. But I suspect it'll be the same story for all three teams. If Pats progress, Shamrock Rovers enter the competition next week. I suspect none of the games will be live on terrestrial television or even on pay TV in this country next week. Which, considering what Shamrock Rovers did last season and showed the importance of these qualifiers and what it can ultimately lead to, and to sort of build the momentum across the summer, and when the interest in the league is at such a high right now, and the league almost stalls in a way for these because the European teams aren't playing league fixtures during this run, and they are understandably the most well-known players, the most well-known teams in the league, and suddenly they kind of disappear and they do this other thing for a month, 6 weeks, where they're off playing actually bigger games against stronger teams all over Europe. That's the bit we go, no, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that. So I know it's a huge source of frustration to people involved in the clubs that they're not getting the chance to show these games and to be seen by a much, much bigger audience. And maybe one of the TV stations does pick this up, but as you said, like Virgin have made a significant investment in their coverage of the League of Ireland, and that's probably having an impact then on what else they can do in terms of covering these sort of matches.
Let's hear from Sean Gannon in conversation with Nathan after the game.
This was a European fixture, but just up the road, and through Rovers, Dundalk, all about the trips to Eastern Europe, which is going to come now with Qarabag, and you've experience from playing them with Dundalk, probably 6 years ago at this stage. What awaits this group over the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks now, when you're guaranteed 3 more ties at a minimum?
Yeah, look, and this is going to sound a bit cliche, but we have a massive game at the weekend. We have a big cup game coming up, and we need to make sure we're in the next round of the cup before we can even talk about Qarabag. It's one of our ambitions this season is to go on a cup run. And we've got a tricky game the weekend, and we need to approach that right. We need to prepare right for it. But then obviously what's coming with Qarabag, I've experienced it before. Tough conditions over there. Obviously a lot of high humidity, high heat. Does play a factor, but I'm sure by then I'm not sure. Are we home?
You're at home first, as far as Moira next Wednesday.
Yeah,
so
obviously expect another big night in Tolka. I think being part of the crowd last week is an unbelievable atmosphere. Hopefully more the same on Wednesday, and then we'll go on Wednesday and see where we are after that.
And a word then on Joey, who's very new to management but not to football, and he sort of made that point on the first night down in Waterford that he's sort of seen everything you can see him, while all of us are probably shell-shocked at what happened with Damien's departure. He's like, we just get on with it. Has that been him over the last couple of weeks, that, listen, managers come and go?
Yeah, they do. Look, obviously Damien was unbelievable for us. I owe him a lot as well. He signed me, gave me an opportunity to play for this great club. Himself and the staff are here, so personally I owe that to Damien for giving me a chance to come here and be part of this, what was built here with the staff.
Did you hear from him ahead of the game?
Sorry?
Did you hear from Damien ahead of the game?
No. But I know he was obviously supporting us there. But I think since the gaffer now has come in, I've seen him say a lot's changed, but not a lot has, and it's very true. The gaffer has been part of this since the start. Himself and the other staff members have built this squad since they came in, and it's been fairly seamless. We all just want to be successful for this club, and he's given us probably responsibility as players, as senior players, and it's been brilliant. It really has in the last few weeks. I know a lot has changed, but not a lot. That was the quote he used, and I'd kind of echo that. He's been brilliant for us as players since in the past few weeks, and obviously it was a turbulent kind of time, but I think he's really settled his ship, and it's been, I can just say he's been amazing for us.
And a lot to look forward to over the next few weeks now as well. Enjoy, Sean.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Thanks.
That Qarabag Dundalk, Qarabag scored after 4 minutes in the first game. Dundalk scored a late equaliser, and then they scored early in the second game, and it was nip and tuck until the 78th minute, and then Qarabag scored twice late on, which is kind of the stereotypical Irish performance in Europe over the last 4 decades. Technically superior side, runs legs off team. But I think maybe things have changed. Can Shels dream, or am I being completely ludicrous?
Oh, I think it's probably a bit of a stretch, considering Dundalk by then were such an experienced European side. They had become the dominant force in Irish football, whereas Shels, it seems for a lot of these players, these are new experiences, these are new occasions. Not Sean Gannon, obviously one of the exceptions. Maybe not an enormous amount of European experience in big games like this. And also, while definitely things have settled very quickly under Joey O'Brien, and he hasn't lost a game yet since he came in a few weeks ago, I think all of the turmoil in the background and the fact that they're sitting mid-table in the league suggests that this is going to be a right old struggle. But the key is to just get a result in Talca, make it as noisy, as difficult, as uncomfortable as you possibly can for Qarabag. And that is, going back 6 years ago at this stage, so it's a very different looking Qarabag side. They're a team that the season before last got to the last 16 of the Europa League. They were in the Europa League again last season. They played Spurs, they played Ajax, got well beaten by both. But they'll come and they'll look at this tie and expect it's a foregone conclusion. And maybe that there's an opportunity in that as well for Shelbourne, that Qarabag might be a little bit complacent around all of this. And obviously they're in a different part of their season. I think they've been away in a camp over the last few weeks playing pre-season friendlies as well, Qarabag. So, there's an opportunity maybe there for Shelbourne in the first leg to keep the tie alive. But, you'd be talking about one of the biggest upsets in the history of Irish football if Shels can go and win this.
Okay.
We're up and running here, Nathan. Phil Mickelson has just moved on to 1 under after 2. Joins Jakob Olesen also after 2. Nikolai Højgaard is 3 holes ahead, 1 under after 5. Padraig Harrington, as you well know, was the first man to lead the 2025 Open. He is now 1 over after 5. And Tom McGibbon, where is he gone?
He's back to
He's
1
1
over.
over after 5 as well. He just birdied the 5th.
He just birdied the 5th. How are the excitement levels? Simmering?
Yeah, good. It's been a long week. The fact that McIlroy and Lowry sort of came in early on Monday and did all their press stuff, then you're kind of just waiting for it all to get started. And yeah, it's going to be a long week and a long day today, from Harrington teeing off at 6:30 this morning to probably post 8 o'clock this evening by the time Rory McIlroy finishes his opening round. But yeah, just can't wait to see how the course holds up, who emerges as the challengers. Even Phil Mickelson there, a former winner who has obviously gone a different way in his life and his career in recent years. It'd be interesting to see what sort of reaction Phil would get if he could get himself into contention. And so often some of those more experienced guys turn up at an Open Championship and they can plot their way around a golf course and they can get themselves into the mix over the weekend. The most famous one, of course, being Tom Watson back in 2009. Darren Clarke as well. Now, Darren Clarke, let's remember, was probably 10 years younger than Phil Mickelson is now. He was early 40s.
Was he?
So I've had a different look at maybe what Darren Clarke did as we sort of head towards that.
Oh, now you're like, hey, he's a young man, as you're the same age as him.
Exactly. Why can't he achieve great things in his
life? You're
life?
in way better shape.
Some may say similar. Not quite as tanned as Darren Clarke is. But it's something very early stages so far. But yeah, Mickelson will be a very interesting storyline. He seems to spend more time on X at the moment, having a pop at the governor of California and supporting all of Trump's policies than playing a lot of golf. So that's sort of where Phil is in his life. And it's a real shame what's happened with Phil post Live and even around the start of Live. He was the people's champion. Like when he won that PGA and the crowd's coming up 18, and one of the most liked, one of the most recognizable figures in golf, just such a great entertainer. And then the way he went around Live and his efforts to, split the game of golf and, be one of the major reasons that everything that's gone on over the past 3 or 4 years has happened, and doing it seems, for, personal gain as much as anything else because of the financial situation he found himself in. I think he's gone down in a lot of people's estimation. So I'd be interested over the weekend to see, does he have that love of the crowd again if he gets himself in the mix for this?
I have a sartorial query for you, Nathan. Lucas Herbert of Australia and Cameron Smith as well are both wearing hoodies. It's very distracting on a full swing.
That the hood might fly in a certain direction.
In eye line, yeah.
No, I think the hood is sort of. I often wonder this when I'm going playing golf as to what's an acceptable hoodie to wear.
Oh, you mean
Like,
you mean in terms of etiquette?
So obviously you're allowed to wear a hoodie. I think they're sort of generally that little bit lighter, and maybe as a result of that, Colm, maybe there's not as much movement in the
very
hood
well
as there would
fitted.
be in a regular hoodie.
I was silently admiring how well fitted it was on Lucas Herbert there.
Expensive is what you mean, Colm.
But I can't help but think, Nathan, that it would be swinging in the open air of Royal Portrush. It could cost them the open.
So who are you talking about? Yeah.
8:06 a.m.
I don't think. Listen, you spend the next while watching their swing and see is there excessive movement of the hood, and then maybe send a message through, and we can get word out that this could become an impediment for them over the course of the weekend. No, I think I like the hoodie look. I think it adds a little bit of something. It's a bit more modern than what we would have seen before, and obviously it's a bit cooler. This morning, yesterday was a sensational day at Portrush.
Oh, yeah.
It was beautiful, warm. Padraig Harrington was eating his 99s. He said he came and spoke to the Irish media for a little while. Said that the 99s at Portrush are the best of any Open Championship.
Ah.
It was high praise from Harrington, who's had one everywhere. He was very nervous, very, very nervous about this morning and that opening tee shot. He said he'd been asked a couple of times would he hit the first tee shot at the Open, and he sort of said no, not for me. And he felt, you know what, it's at Portrush. Maybe now's the time for me to go and do it. But because it's such a difficult tee shot, and then he was, been asked about Rory and who'd be more nervous on that first tee shot. You or Rory, considering what happened to Rory in 2019. He was like, "Wow, don't be reminding me of that." But he actually had a beautiful tee shot. Rory, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, and I'd heard this on Monday that Rory, when he stood up on the first hole on Monday morning at 7 o'clock, put it straight out of bounds on the right hand side, and. It was the left-hand side back in 2019. But Brad Faxon, who works with Rory on his putting, said that he'd gone out of bounds as well on Tuesday. So listen, get it out of your system. Get it out of your system good and early. People who were following me yesterday said he seemed to be playing very well. Maybe not perfect off the tee. And Harrington was doing as he does brilliantly, sort of giving a complete run through of the course and making that point that if you can get lucky here off the tee, and you can get a perfect lie, or you may never see your ball again, and suddenly you're scrapping for bogey, and one hole can undo your entire tournament, as it did for McIlroy. So, God, this is one of the most anticipated tee shots there has been in a long time, and I think whatever he can do to just find the middle of that fairway and keep it away from left or right, because there's white stakes right, there's white stakes left. Just get underway, get out of that first hole with a par, and move on with your life.
3:10 this afternoon. There's storm warnings in place in between, so we'll see exactly what happens. Nathan, good stuff. Thanks a million.
Thanks, lads.
It's Nathan Murphy there, who will obviously be covering the Open for us all weekend across all the Off the Ball channels. You'll hear him this evening on the radio, and Saturday and Sunday, of course, with John Duggan as well. A reminder, Off the Ball Breakfast is with UPMC Orthopaedic Care. When things don't move, rotate, or bend like they used to, choose us to help you get back